Today we have a gracious personality with us, Mrs. Meera Shah, as part of a Young Tycoon Talk series, an initiative of SKOPE. Born in Mumbai, brought up in Rajkot, she has done her engineering in electronics and communication from VVP Engineering College, Rajkot. And she has also done her MBA in marketing from AES Postgraduation Institute of Business Management. She started the Weekend Window in 2013, and today it is the largest high-end flea market of Gujarat. It is a one-stop destination. It is a carnival of food, shopping and music. It is associated with big MNCs like BMW, Volvo, Harley-Davidson, Royal Enfield, Vadilal Ice Cream, Creambell Ice Cream and many more. Weekend Window believes in just one thing for its associates, and that is a win-win situation. Let's have a conversation with Mrs. Meera Shah. My first question to you would be, you have worked with Mudra and Divya Bhaskar, so you had an established career, a corporate career. So what made you break away from an established corporate career and start up on your own?
Basically, I worked with Mudra because I heard while I was like you, a student, and I heard a lot of people around me talking that it is very difficult to get into Mudra, and those people are very selective about the kind of universities they select and the students they select from particular universities. So it came in as a challenge, and while I achieved Mudra and Bhaskar, I realized that there is a lot of learning which I got, but it was too difficult to patch up with the basic life that a human needs. You know, when you are in advertising and media, your life is 12 hours, 14 hours of job in the normal days, and probably you spend one night every fortnight at the office. So I decided, while I got married, I decided that I don't want to resume back that kind of a job wherein I don't have any personal time for my family and for my personal growth. So this was a very random idea, and I had no plans of starting Weekend Window as a brand and, you know, establishing it as a big event. Eventually, I did it only to promote a very close friend of mine. She's also my sister-in-law, and she is a designer who had moved from Bombay to Ahmedabad, and like me, she had no circle, social circle. So she needed that kind of a promotion and marketing plan, and while I was already onto this, so I decided to do something for her. And eventually I thought, let us bring more brands so that we get advantage of each and every brand's clientele for each and every other brand that is participating. So Ahmedabad, you know, welcomed me wholeheartedly, and that's how it happened.
Okay. So where did you get the idea of a high-end flea market from?
While we were traveling after I got married, we went to Bangkok, we went to Dubai, we went to Goa. So we saw a lot of night markets and a lot of street markets. And while I went to Goa, I was surely, you know, I had this sure thought in my mind that this is it. This is something that I would want to do. So meanwhile, I was already thinking on, you know, ideas of how to promote the brand that I was endorsing that point in time. So then it struck me that why not, you know, a setup like this. And luckily, while one fine day I was having a cup of coffee at this place called Goodies. It has very nice, beautiful French windows, and the whole bungalow was painted white. So bungalow converted into a restaurant. So that struck me. You know, the entire charisma of that place was something that pushed me that this is the place and this is where I should begin. So that's how I thought of doing something. And eventually, while I was planning something of this sort, because of my media and advertising background, I was aware that we can bring in certain brands and certain associations. And that's how in the first event itself, we got Volvo as the sponsor. So luckily the place also offered, you know, that kind of entry to people who were of particular class. So not everybody and anybody could enter that place. It did not become then a very open ground event. So there were bouncers at the entry. So from the first, the place where I did my first event helped me a lot to establish as a high-end flea market, and the first association, Volvo Autobots, helped me a lot to then again represent Weekend Window to other clients.
So, according to you, what was lacking in the weekend culture of Gujarat, especially in Ahmedabad?
I personally feel that a lot of Gujaratis I hear come and tell that there's nothing interesting in Gujarat, but while they go to Bombay or a Delhi or a Bangalore, they do a lot of things and they have a lot of interest. So just because Gujarat is a dry state, that category of dry state has deprived Gujarat of a lot of creative activities. And considering Ahmedabad, there are only malls, restaurants and theaters where people go, and the fourth one could be probably clubs. But that also not all people are club members. So the first three are the only places where people can go, Aam Janta can go and enjoy. So that was something that I think lagged as a whole. And eventually, while I have been doing, I feel that there is a lot of lack in the music culture of Gujarat. Because when you talk about a city like Bombay or a small city like Nagpur, because there are some discs and some legal permissions, I'm not saying it is wrong that Gujarat does not have it, but overall people grow with that kind of a culture wherein they understand what a jazz is or a indie pop is or a rock is. Here, if you go to Sept, you have that kind of people who understand what a rock band is. But if you go to a normal school or normal college, people don't have that idea of differentiation between music also. So that art and music and fun culture was lacking in Ahmedabad.
So, what challenges did you face while establishing Weekend Window?
Like any other new business, the kind of challenges that you face were the exact challenges that I faced. Establishing Weekend Window was a little more difficult because today you call Weekend Window a flea market, but otherwise if you look at the branding that Weekend Window has, there is no flea market that is mentioned. So making people understand, first of all, what is a flea market, because I came across people calling it a flea market and a free market and whatnot. So defining to each and every individual that a flea market is something, a good English version of a Gujri Bazaar, but this is a high-end flea market. So establishing the concept of flea market was difficult, and then eventually the next question I faced was, oh, matlab aa to tamaro exhibition chhe. So again differentiating, because exhibition culture is too huge in Ahmedabad. So differentiation of Weekend Window from the other exhibitions was the second challenge. And then I guess eventually after 3 events, bringing audience and the kind of audience was not difficult, but still reaching out to people was still a challenge, because if you go to a normal exhibition today in Ahmedabad, there are people from all different genres, of trade and profession. But at Weekend Window, we were very particular about the kind of people also whom we would want to bring in as exhibitors, because that's how we would differentiate the brands that are with us and the brands that are exhibiting at the other events. So those were the 3-4 challenges that we faced. Even today we face challenges of establishing Weekend Window at a bigger venue, reaching out to people for venue options, because we've always had it either the first 3 Weekend Windows were at Goodies, so the place itself was fantastic, but later on we've always had Weekend Window at a lawn. So now moving on to an open ground is always a challenge. So we would not want to deprive Weekend Window of that kind of experience that it has always offered. So those are small challenges which we face, but major challenges were establishing as a brand Weekend Window.
So apart from differentiating it from a flea market or an exhibition or a high-end, making it established in the people's mind, this is a high-end thing, this is not some normal thing. So apart from the brand and other stuff, what about the financing part? How did you manage that?
Good question. So while I just started with the idea of doing something, it was very difficult mentally for me to, go and lay out a business plan in front of my in-laws, because earlier I belonged to a business family, but I did not do any business of my own. So that was one big challenge. But the first thing that my dad answered, my father-in-law answered was, you give 1,000 days to your business, till 1000 days of your business, do not look at the finances. Whatever money you need, you either ask from me or take up a loan if you don't want from me, but do not look at the financial sheet. You focus majorly on how you would want to grow the brand. And today we are almost on the verge of finishing 1000 days. And I feel that now we are established and good enough to have our own, financial circle. But yes, the financial challenges were huge, but we managed for sure that we balance out the income that we had to the expenses that we made, because in the initial stages of establishment is the time when you need the maximum marketing, the maximum branding, the maximum visibility, the maximum top of the mind recall. So whatever you have studied in books will always, always, always come into picture when you do a business. So those were the challenges.
Okay, so the upcoming 8th edition of the weekend window is on Christmas Day, that is day after tomorrow. So what difference have you seen in the way it has been received by the customers since the first edition?
Even in the first edition, it was very overwhelming an experience for us because we did not expect, and we had a footfall of more than 4,000 people. So for a small cramped up place like Goodies, 4,000 people felt like, whoa. And last event while we did in Ahmedabad, the last event that we did, that was the 6th edition. We had more than 17,000 of footfall, and those were all class audience. So this time around, the main forte is the Karnavati Club venue, because the club itself has 12,000 members, and then Weekend Window has a lot of fan following. So eventually we're still not sure, but we are hoping that we'll have more than 20,000 footfall. And bringing in the customers, bringing in the exhibitors. My exhibitors are my customers. So bringing in the customers became much more easier because, gradually what book says is right. Your customers are your advocates. So while my customers came to Weekend Window, participated, they had good experience, they had good business. So they went out and spoke to other 5 people. So eventually, at least one of them came in. So this time around, I can proudly say that we were 100% sold out before Diwali. We announced Weekend Window in October, and before November 15th, before we could finish our early bird discount offers, we were sold out. So we have this time more than 41 brands coming from outside Ahmedabad, and we have 110 stalls. So it's a huge setup, but eventually a lot of people, a lot of exhibitors have spoken good about us, and that has helped us create that value in front of people, even outside Ahmedabad.
So word of mouth marketing both on the part of customers and exhibitors work for you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So, ma'am, Weekend Window is an active platform for marketing utilized by MNCs like BMW, Volvo, Mercedes. So, how is Weekend Window helping in marketing these companies?
See, basically what we've believed in since the first edition is you can't just have a place at Weekend Window, you can't just stand and do nothing. So then it becomes a Navratri festival where you go in and you see hundreds of flexes with hundreds of brands doing their branding. So that is completely a no-no at Weekend Window. So we believe that when you are a part of such a live event, you have to be yourself very alive. So with BMW, what we do is we go to these companies and we sit down with them, and each company has a different objective altogether during their tenures. So while we do a Weekend Window 7 with a Mercedes, the Weekend Window 8 with a Mercedes would be with a totally different objective. So we sit down with them, understand the objective of their presence at Weekend Window. If they have any particular, whether it is a new car that you want to put up, whether it is an old car, but they want to promote it. So, sitting down with the client, understanding their needs. And then we go back home and brainstorm ourselves that what all could be the options, what all activities could be done. So when there has to be difference between your presence at a Weekend Window and your spending of money on a print ad. So there also you're getting your visibility and your top of the mind recall. But while you are here, you have to be interactive. So the person, the people who are coming in should get a touch and feel experience of your brand. So that is the best that has helped us in gaining more confidence in our brand associates also. So there were brands who came in and they randomly said, oh, we are just launching and we have sampling, so we'll go give 1,000 products for free and we want just people to come in and enjoy. And we were like, no, we can't allow that, sorry. So if you want to sell, sell, but nothing comes free. There is nothing like a free bread. So you have to do some activity. You can then gift things to people. We don't mind doing that, but you do something. Take that pain and reach out to people and be more interactive, because this is the kind of platform wherein you will get the right audience to interact what you want to communicate what you want to, together with giving that brand a touch and feel experience.
Okay, so even exhibitors are encouraged to be participative in the activities.
Not really, because there are exhibitors, whose bread and butter are the exhibitions. So they travel from exhibition to exhibition and earn that money. So and then there are other exhibitors who just like the vibe of Weekend Window and who just want to be a part of Weekend Window because it's fun to be there all 3 days. So there's a more mix, group of exhibitors, but then there are certain exhibitors who have good manpower and who can arrange for taking up a certain workshops or taking up certain activities and also being there at the stall. So then it is possible for them to manage the pop-up stall as well as the activities, but not all could do that.
What advice would you like to give to young aspiring entrepreneurs?
It is a very, very important thing that you have asked me, and in fact yesterday we have a few event management school students who are with Weekend Window as trainees, and in fact yesterday I was talking to them about this. I particularly feel that you need at least, if not more, at least 2 years of proper work culture wherein you work under somebody, you understand a lot of things, because at that point in time you're just supposed to do things. You're not responsible for things. You're definitely responsible for the work that you're given, but then you're not responsible for the outcome, wholesome outcome in the market. So you can learn a lot of things during that struggle. And that struggle would be very, very critical, because you will be talking to, a set of vendors, you'll be talking to a set of designers. So your overall growth towards anything will be wholesome in that particular organization. So only once you've got that wholesome growth is when you can think of doing something on your own. Had I not been a part of Mudra, it's a huge, huge institute, and I'm very happy that I was in Ahmedabad, because Ahmedabad gave me a lot of exposure, Mudra Ahmedabad. Had I been in Bombay, the entire organization is, more than 200 people. So there probably as a trainee or as a new joinee, before 3 years, I would not have been able to go to an on-ground TVC shoot and talking to the production guys and talking to the, filmmakers. So those all small bits of experiences helped me a lot in gaining basic little knowledge, being punctual, archiving my things, and taking notes, making very wonderful presentations. So eventually what presentations you make in college are very, very different from the presentations that you make for a client. So those all things are very critical. So for any new aspirants, it is very, very important that you work in an organization, and specifically an organization where you get that leverage of exploiting your direct upper boss and taking more and more of as much as you can. So here you have to just, for those first initial 2 years, you just have to be there. If you're ready to work for 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day and grab as much as possible, nobody will stop you. But if I personally feel that if you directly jump into the market, you have no idea of what kind of market research goes into, setting up an organization of your own, meeting the right people, getting the right business networking contacts, because that is all what you will encash later on when you start your own business. So that basic, either if you want to start your own business, the internship that you take up has to be very, very serious. It just can't be subah 10 baje gaye, sham ko 5 baje ghar. It has to be a full-time, responsible internship that you do.
So working for 2 years, 2 to 3 years, gaining work experience before starting up on your own is the best advice for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's been an honor talking to you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you for coming to Skits.
Thank you.